Joining us is someone who isn't a skeptic. Antoni Trenchev is a co-founder and managing partner at Nexo. It's one of the world's largest crypto lenders. They have more than 3 million users. And Antoni, you and I have been talking for years and years about crypto, the market, and you've been making predictions that always seem to come true, even as if they sound outlandish at the time. I remember you told me 50,000 a few years ago, and it did indeed hit that shortly after you called it. Now you're saying 100,000. Why this target, and when do you expect to see it?
With Bitcoin and predictions, I have a good ally. Bitcoin's a great ally to have with your predictions. It's going to 100,000. We will see that level for sure. Whether it happens by the end of June, my optimistic scenario, or towards the end of the year, ultimately it doesn't matter, but it's fascinating how resilient this asset is. And the more bearish the consensus gets, and this appears to be happening right now, the more bullish I personally get.
You know, I spent a lot of time here in New York with a very libertarian crypto crowd at the onset of this whole crypto universe. And they were always bullish Bitcoin because the Fed was doing quantitative easing, because fiat currencies were just being printed endlessly. But if we see that turn around, if we see the Fed start to tighten, raise rates, let its balance sheet run off, isn't that bad for Bitcoin?
Well, Matt, let's take a step back. Like tightening, tapering, reduction of the balance sheet. These are very harsh words with regards to the Fed's action, and in particular what they have been doing. I am a contrarian here to most analysts. I think as soon as the S&P and the credit markets correct something to the tune of 20% or even 30%, we will be back to easing in no time. I don't see the political will for anyone to power through what is necessary to hike the rates consistently and for an extended periods. I just don't see that on the horizon. The S&P is down year to date 2.5%, and everybody is calling the end of the world. So I don't see that as a too likely scenario, and I think cheap money is here to stay.
So you don't think the Fed will hike, 4 times is the latest that the market's pricing in for 2022. What do you expect this year?
I expect them to do some steps in that direction, 1 or 2 hikes, and then equities and bonds and everybody's pension funds to take a hit, and we will be back to easing in no time. And even if they taper, they certainly don't tell us the amount of taper, just the regularity and the frequency of it. And I just think that, the balance sheet is so huge. The interest rates are such vast amounts of money that, raising the rates ultimately hits the United States the most.
I wonder how inflation affects your business, Antoni. I mean, what kind of return can I get if I'm lending Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies with you? And how attractive does that look if we're experiencing CPI at 7%?
Well, for you, we will cut a special deal because you're such a crypto proponent for that, even at times where there were no such among the TV anchors. But kidding aside, you can get up to 8% on Bitcoin, which, hopefully will continue to cover inflation. And that's why we have this huge influx. We went to 100 millions to now managing over $11 billion at Nexo. And, it just shows that the hunger for yield is out there, and that we are part of the solution rather than the problem, bringing some normality into a space where in the traditional markets you have to go very deep into the junk bonds to even cover inflation.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of your business, as we said, you've got over 3 million users. You're in more than 200 jurisdictions. What kind of growth is Nexo expecting, and how does regulation play into that?
Well, regulation is a huge topic for us. We always welcomed clear rules with regards to what we can and cannot do and how we should structure our businesses. We are happy regulators are finally taking notice of the space, and hopefully something productive, business-friendly will come about, especially in the U.S., because I don't think that any country can afford it to stay outside the whole cryptocurrency universe, especially with the metaverse slowly but surely emerging. And I choose to be optimistic with regards to regulation, and we are proactively working with some of the regulators on that to help them build those rules.
Antoni, great to get some time with you. Thanks so much for talking to us. Antoni Trenchev there, the co-founder and managing partner at Nexo, talking to us about cryptocurrency, saying Bitcoin will hit $100,000 by June. And he said he doesn't expect the Fed to continue its tightening. As soon as we see big dips, the plunge protection team runs in and starts to ease again. This is